Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I really appreciate those of you who could join us in person. It means a lot. I know everyone has a very busy life, especially when you have little children. So thank you for making the effort to be here in person, and certainly want to welcome everybody who is with us virtually through Zoom this evening. This is our second ever State of the School address. This is something that I started last year. I don't think we had ever done this before, so I think it's a wonderful tradition and something that is important for our families and our staff members and all of our constituents to get a yearly update, like the State of the Union. One of the dads said to me today, "What time is the State of the Union?" I said, "I have no idea, but I know what time the State of the School is." I don't want that pressure. Anyway, I think everyone knows who I am, but I am Nancy Schuler, the head of Westminster School. It is my great privilege and honor to serve the school in this capacity. I am in my third year as head of school and my 32nd year as an employee here. I'm a Westminster graduate, for anyone who doesn't know, of the class of 1979. And I taught here for 6 years when I first started under Mrs. Gall. I was very fortunate to work with her for a year before she passed away. And then, of course, worked with Mr. Glover for all the years to follow as a teacher and department chair, team leader, those kinds of things. And then took a break to be home with my children and came back as the admissions director and served in that capacity for a very long time. And now we are very fortunate to have Joy Sapper serving that role. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. There are some people who think that a classical education is antiquated, obsolete, closed-minded, those kinds of things. And I know, of course, that that is not the case. And certainly I know what the world gets from our graduates and how the world benefits from them and from our wonderful teachers and anyone who's ever worked here. Just met with a former teacher today who moved away out of the area, and she told me she came back, she's back in the area, and she said, "I'm never going to teach anywhere but Westminster School." She said, "I'll do something else, I'll go into a different field if there's not a spot for me here, but this is where my heart is and this is where I want to be." And it's that kind of place. So I thought, well, who shall I ask this question? Of whom shall I ask this question? So I decided to reach out to some graduates who I know on Facebook and who I follow and keep in touch with. And I just sent out a message to them thinking maybe I'd get a few responses, and I got a lot more than I expected. I'm gonna come out from behind the podium. Is this okay, Mr. Crook? They can see me on the Zoom? That works. Okay. All right, so let's get started. Ooh. Okay, so I asked them if they would be willing to answer that question in 1 or 2 sentences. And they are very good Griffins and they follow directions very well, but they had a hard time with that. First of all, I was amazed at how many of them responded. I was very moved by that they took time to answer me. Secondly, I was struck by the quality of their writing. I want you to know that I have not edited anything about these remarks. I haven't put a comma. I haven't done a thing except put quotes around it, which I think is extremely impressive in this day and age. And, whoop, what are we doing there, Mr. Crow? Most importantly, I was deeply touched by what they had to say and the fact that they are out in the world living fully fulfilled lives. And they're making the world a better place. So what they have said, and I think about why the world needs Westminster School, they say it much better than I can. So here are some of those responses, and I'm gonna ask for help from my friends here. If Ms. Sapper, you'll join us up here. Here we go.
Our first quote is from Scott Cannon of the class of 1998. And he shared, "Westminster is indispensable as it goes beyond textbooks valuing the holistic development of students. It equipped me with the social skills, manners, and ability to take on challenges to make an impact on the world, while forging meaningful connections, shaping who I am today.
All right, the next alumni is Megan from the class of 2007. She went to the College of William and Mary. She also got her MBA. And she is now a World Bank Research Management Analyst, and she's living in Rome. Megan says, as all Griffin alumni can attest to, Westminster School provided us with the strongest academic foundations and instilled in us the values of discipline and hard work, which are essential to success in any endeavor in life. Above all, however, I am so thankful to Westminster for making me a well-rounded individual and sparking my love for the arts. Singing, dancing, and doing theater at such a young age set me apart from the rest of my peers, and my creativity as an adult is the direct result of my experience at Westminster School.
Next, we have two more recent graduates, Cameron Olds from the class of 2014 and her sister Madison from the class of 2020, who I actually taught when she was in second grade. Madison says, the world needs Westminster School because the world needs well-spoken individuals who have the confidence to lead in any space they enter. It needs people who have learned to excel academically while also having the ability to tap into their creativity and artistry. Her sister Cameron says, the world needs Westminster School as a tight-knit and loving community dedicated to nurturing and challenging each student that walks through its doors.
Next is Aber Shapiro, class of 2001, Boston University.
What? Oh, okay.
Boston University, supervising producer of unscripted TV. Westminster makes a stronger, better person through fostering the values of camaraderie and community. Teachers have become mentors, classmates are lifelong friends, and alums are a happy reminder that our Westminster connections transcend graduation years and geographic location.
Next is Neela Chatoon, Andrea. Westminster School, she's from the class of 1994. Westminster School left a lasting impression on me because it created and fortified the foundation for me to reach my goals. I owe so much to Westminster. I knew because of my years at Westminster that I could achieve what I put my mind and effort in. This has been proven again and again in the pursuit of my dreams of becoming a food writer, an author, and really just living my fullest life.
Then we have Cressida Krieger, who says, in a time when education seems to be increasingly failing students across the nation, Westminster School has maintained an educational standard far above the norm. My education from Westminster School is at the top of the list of things I will never take for granted, for it has been proven to me, time and time again, that the critical thinking skills, reading comprehension, and continuous challenge that brought me great success in school has always been counted a strength and advantage throughout all the years that followed and continue to be.
Next, we have Kelvin Nash, class of 1979. He says, I know that I got a high-quality education, which is the main reason why we are all there. But looking back on the school years later up to now, I've had the epiphany that the school was exactly what I needed at that point in my life. It was more than an education. It was the quality and the closeness of the people I went to school with. It was a foundation that led to some very strong, lifelong relationships. The impact is not just through the 8th grade. The impact of the school is for the rest of your life.
Megan Custis de Nicola, class of 98, stated, the classical education that taught me an appreciation for the arts, history, and critical thinking is needed now more than ever in an increasingly superficial world that seems to encourage herd mentality. Not to mention the safe environment we have that emphasizes the importance of respect for authority, peers, community, and self. My kids weren't getting any of this in their schools, If I lived closer and had the means, I would send my kids to Westminster in a heartbeat. I am a confident, hardworking, worldly, and compassionate person, and Westminster School gets a lot of the credit for that.
Next, we have Lauren Haler, class of 2014, Christopher Newport University, office manager. She says, I think the world needs Westminster School because of the classical education. I was taught public speaking, leadership, and much more because of this. Westminster also taught me how to keep myself organized and on top of the tasks that were given.
Next is Barack Essen. He is from the class of 2010. And he says, although society overall seems to have lowered its standards, Westminster doesn't. A Westminster education is an investment your child may not see the value in yet, but will in a decade. That's how long it took me.
I'm very excited to read this next one. It's so profound. This is from Jorar Malik, class of 1998. Westminster School teaches us to navigate the complexities of the modern world with the timeless wisdom of the classics, fostering individuals who not only seek success, but also strive to enrich the world around them. The world needs Westminster School because it teaches us not only how to think, but how to live with integrity, curiosity, and a deep respect for the arts and humanities. So much of who I am, the chances I've taken, the audacity to dream, the desire to be a change agent was baked into me during my formative years as a Griffin. Westminster not only lit the spark for a love of academic excellence, but inexorably the yearning to explore bold thinking. In short, at Westminster, I learned both the letter and spirit of The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost.
Next, we have Alex Cannon, class of 1997. I think what makes Westminster special and successful is it focuses on the fundamentals. Westminster graduates do amazing things in many different arenas of life because they all get an amazing start to their education that ensures they have the building blocks of learning before they graduate. This allows graduates to succeed wherever they choose to deploy their talents.
We have Glenda Clavicius Woodward, class of 2001, who stated, the guidance, culture, and lessons that are learned at Westminster in and outside of the classroom are unmatched. The memories made even after 23 years are near and dear to my heart, and the stories are told to my husband and kids in my daily life. I would not be who I am without Westminster School. I'm sorry if that wasn't as short as you needed it to be. I probably could go on and on about how much I love the school and how I wish we still lived in Northern Virginia because I know my kids would have thrived in that environment, but I will stop myself now. Thank you for being one of the best parts of my life. And thank you, Glenda.
Emmanuel Shatai, class of 2007, College of William and Mary, Georgetown University, School of Medicine. Westminster School was a necessary experience in my life. Westminster and its teachers helped me nurture the idea that I could do anything in this life, even as a young boy who had just recently immigrated to the country.
And last, we have Brett Williams, class of 2009. And Brett says, Brett is always very eloquent, and he is here as well. The world needs Westminster School because Westminster School raises children the right way, period. Taught why and how to work hard, to engage with the wisdom of the greatest thinkers and creators, to ever grace this earth, and to value diversity and treat all others with respect, all the while being nurtured, disciplined, empowered, and otherwise molded into confident, gracious scholars and global citizens. Griffins become equipped to tackle the many challenges the world will present, to unleash the fullest and best version of themselves, and to lift up others into the light along the way. Thank you, friends. I think that's pretty awesome. Don't you think that's pretty awesome? Let's hear it for those great Westminster graduates. I hope you're applauding at home. And I know all of these people because that's the kind of community that we have. We know each other and we stay in touch with each other, and they come back. And you have to remember, this school ends in the 8th grade. Where do you go and find adults who look back on their elementary and middle school education and give it that much credit for who they are? And I can tell you, as a Westminster graduate myself, I 100% feel that way. I feel that way about my kids. I think my 3 children are who they are. I know they are. Yes, of course, because of my husband and me, but also because of this place and that partnership that we had together. And Mrs. Jacobson, would you mind sharing what you said to me in my office today?
I shared with Mrs. Schuler earlier today that as I was reading through these slides in preparation for this evening, reading those quotes brought tears to my eyes, because I was thinking back to a time when I was a young woman and considering some different professional paths, teaching, of course, being one of them, and finally determining that I absolutely had to pursue teaching because I just felt such a calling to do something that would have a deep impact on people. And so when I read those quotes, it just made me so grateful that I have found this place, or this place found me, I'm not sure which, so that I'm doing something that is making such a lasting and profound mark on humanity.
It's not just about the classes and the academics. So from that, I pulled words, just single words from what they wrote. And it's an amazing list. And you look at that list and you think, what do I want for my child? Not just for their childhood, but for their whole lives. What do you want for them? What an incredible list of skills, of qualities, of values that are listed there that they credit Westminster School with giving their child. Giving themselves is pretty awesome. So, it is a journey. Westminster's a journey. It's not a single teacher. It's not a single subject. It's not a grade. It's not even a whole year. So sometimes parents will say, well, we're going to make a change because it's a little rough this year. And I say, but you don't know what you're going to miss. You don't know. And if you don't graduate from here, even if you were here for several years, you don't really get the full benefit of Westminster School. You need to note that the graduates talk about the lifelong impact of an experience that lasts 9 years. Now, for some, it's longer because they come to our preschool now. And for some, it's shorter. Some come late, like I did. I didn't come till 6th grade, but it changed my life coming here for those 3 years. But the thing that we all have in common is we all stood on the stage and we all graduated from this place, and we achieved that honor of being a Westminster graduate, and we all have that in common. And it's important to remember that the investment that you make in your child's Westminster education is going to pay dividends for the rest of their lives, as I think you could see from all of those wonderful tributes and testimonials from those graduates. And without any prompting from me other than just to ask them that question. And that's what they had to say. I think it's profound. So wherever they go for high school, college, beyond, they're going to carry the lessons of a superior work ethic, high moral character, depth of knowledge, which, boy, is that missing these days, and an appreciation for life's many gifts. They know they're going to get out there, they're going to live a full life, go to the theater, be in the arts, do whatever it is that they think they might dream to do, and actually believe that they can do it. That's what they get from going to school here. All right, so now we're going to talk a little bit about what we've been doing for the last year. What have we been up to? Have we gotten anything done? Mrs. Jacobson is going to share some of those topics.
Okay, if I put it back in here. All right, so part of what we get to do this evening is celebrate all of the achievements of the past year. So with the annual giving that we have, as well as the capital campaign for the athletic field, which Mrs. Schuler will speak more about later this evening, we invested in a development coordinator this year to really have total and complete focus on those projects. And luckily we had Ms. Lauren Laws already part of our staff with experience in the area of development. So she has taken on that role, and that's been of great benefit to us over the past year. Because it's a top priority for Westminster to retain the highest quality, best staff, we provided salary increases for the staff to keep up with the cost of living in this very expensive region that we live in. Also, our enrollment increased, and so that meant we had to bring on new members of the staff, new teachers. And while the student groupings remained the same, lower school, middle school, and upper school, the teaching teams shifted a bit back to K through 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, and 7 and 8. Another big achievement of the past year is that our attrition decreased from 10% to 6%. So that is wonderful, and we want to hold on to the families that we have here as part of our community. Mrs. Schuler had already brought the SEL, or Social Emotional Learning program, to the 6th through 8th grades through a program called the Social Institute. And over the past year, we've been able to expand that to include the 4th and 5th graders. So all of those students are learning about certainly their online and social media presence and how to be safe and responsible in that realm, but also about kindness and respect in their in-person relationships too. So that's been a really valuable addition to the curriculum. We've had some really exciting technology. The first are the creative boards. You can see that listed up there. These are interactive boards that have been added in a couple of rooms. I am one of the thrilled beneficiaries of one of these, a big 70+ inch screen in the conference room where I teach, and also in the makerspace where Mr. Lippincott teaches both science and STEAM and tech classes. So those have been really exciting to figure out how to incorporate those into the lessons. We can cast our laptops right up to the big screen. You can also access web browser right from there, tap on the screen to move things around and to write. So that's been a lovely addition to those classrooms. We have new iPads that the students have been getting a chance to use through STEAM classes and SEL and other academic courses. Chromebooks, laptops, so continuing to expand that technology aspect of our instruction. And then our final point on this slide references the continued strengthening of security and emergency response procedures. We are working with a company called Jaffe Security. The teachers benefited from a full day of training during our late August orientation week. So that was really wonderful for them to have that time to review the procedures and practice some of them. We have a new behavioral threat assessment management team where school leaders are able to address and mitigate possible issues that might arise. And in second semester, we're also going to implement technology called School Pass, which allows us to keep track of visitors to the school, does instant background checks on those visitors when they enter the building, and also helps to keep track of the children's dismissal information to kind of streamline that for the main office. Additionally, another part of retaining high quality staff is providing them with professional development because they really crave that. These are high achievers. They want to keep growing as teachers. And so Mrs. Schuler has made a point of making sure to extend those professional development opportunities to them. We've had Mrs. Sawyer in our lower school, our reading department chair, attend training in a new literacy approach called the Orton-Gillingham method. And she went to a training session for that over the summer. And Mrs. Foster and I went to a 4-day leadership conference that the NAIS put on this summer. And it was so rewarding and invaluable to us as we're moving, sort of straddling the teaching role that we have had for so many years and now moving into a more administrative leadership role in the school. So that really helped us both to grow and learn. We've had dramatic growth in the enrichment and camps programs. Ms. Mock takes a lot of the credit for that. She is the beating heart of those programs. And you can see from these stats, back in 2021, 500 students enrolled in the camp. And then last summer, 2023, 700. So that's quite a bit of growth. And that is a camp that is so highly rated. It's been ranked best summer camp by Northern Virginia Magazine for the last 5 years. So she's doing wondrous things there. Here in the theater, we have so many new enhancements thanks to the money raised by the WPC through the Dimes for Drama program, including new microphones, a new transmitter for those microphones to add clarity, moving spotlights as well, a large venue projector for this space. So lots of nice additions there. The space in the library was refreshed and opened up by taking out and reorienting some of the shelving, adding a new refreshed gathering space in the back of the library. The same kind of refresh happened in the Stonehouse with new carpet and furniture in there. And that's the space where not only our business office is housed, but also where prospective families are first received by Ms. Sapper when they come to visit us. And so that's a nice place to welcome them. We've started with upgrading the HVAC system with new units installed in the lobby, theater, and gym. And Mrs. Schuler will talk about how that is a bigger project, a long-term project throughout the entire building. And then we've had a lot of fun so far, and we'll continue to do so with our school-wide annual theme this year of World Travelers. I've sort of become the travel agent or maybe the cruise director of that World Travelers journey that we're doing. So each week we're visiting a different natural wonder or architectural wonder somewhere in the world, going continent by continent, watching videos, reading articles, and then the students each have a passport. And so each week they take a little quiz about what they've learned about that particular site, and they earn a stamp in their passport. So they're very into it, especially the 8th graders who are beside themselves if they don't possibly get the stamp one week. So it's been a really fun and enlightening process, that journey that we're on, World Travelers. So quite a past year, many, many things to celebrate.
Well, it's funny because I felt like we did so many things the first couple of years that I thought, well, I don't know what we've done. I don't think we've done anything this year. And then we started going through and said, well, okay, we did some things. So that's great. And I appreciate Mrs. Jacobson sharing those things with you because we definitely are a team on the admin team. And of course, our teachers supporting us along the way. But it really is my whole entire admin team that helps make these things happen. So it's appropriate that Mrs. Jacobson would share those with you. Okay, so looking forward, what are we going to do next? Well, the big push is to get the field and the new playground installed. And I'm going to spend quite a bit of time talking about that. But that's the first bullet here. And of course, we want you to be reminded that tuition is not impacted by this addition. The tuition that we get goes right back into what we do here at school, and it is not going toward that very big campaign that we're going to have to raise more money for and finance. So we do want to meet a particular goal before we can break ground on that, but we'll tell you about that plan. Want to continue to improve our security. We've come a long, long way in that Mr. Glover, before he retired, was able to install the PA system, which we'd never had before, believe it or not, and the door locks and the key cards and all of that. And then we've improved things further since then with Joffy's help. We do want to get new camera system. The one that we have is a little outdated. It works, but it's not quite as easy to maneuver, and we want to add some cameras, some additional lighting out in the parking lot. So we have some plans to try to do that, and continue our preparedness procedures with the staff. Training is key, so we're continuing to do that and invest in that and continuing our contract with Joffy. Big news in the fall is we are up for our 5-year visit from the Virginia Association of Independent Schools, which is our accrediting body. The Virginia Association of Independent Schools makes sure that schools do what they say they do. That's basically their goal. And it's wonderful because an independent school is independent. By definition, wouldn't be any good if we were all the same. You might as well go to public school. So the Virginia Association of Independent Schools ensures that schools are being financially, fiscally responsible, and that they're basically delivering on their mission. And we were accredited back originally in the early 1990s, and they visit every 5 years. They do an interim visit, and every 10 years, they do a full visit. So this one that we're having in the fall is an interim visit. However, we have the crew coming in to examine all of our documents, and we have a lot of preparation that we have to do, a lot of writing, and checking of things and preparing for that. So we'll be spending much of the spring and summer doing that, and I want to thank all of my people who are helping with that committee. So we're looking forward to that. That happens in the fall. We will continue to upgrade the HVAC system. The school is aging, and the school was built, the original part of the building was built in 1971, and we've added on over the years. And that system that runs the old part of the building is all on one system. And what we need to do is install new, modern, probably Mitsubishi units, which are energy efficient, will save us money on our bills, but it's an expensive project. So that is something that we need to also put funds toward. And we did the part in the Jane Gall Center because that was replacing zones and it's easier. This big project that needs to be done is extensive, and we'll be needing to make that happen. Of course, continue to take care of our staff. You all know how difficult it is these days, and we're all going to the grocery store and shopping for the same groceries, and we all have seen the prices go up. Our teachers are, if they need a new car, even a used car nowadays, the prices are astronomical. They need to pay rent. They need to make a living wage. So one of our top priorities is to bring up the teacher salaries. We're pretty competitive, but we could do better, and certainly always want to do my best to take care of the staff and increase those opportunities for professional development. Ms. Palmer also got certified in Orton Gillingham. She just did. So both of them are certified now, and that's a phonics-based reading program. So don't get worried that we're switching to some kooky reading program. We're not. It's okay. It's still phonics-based. It's very much similar to Open Court, which we used to do, but it brings in some other sensory learning that I think will be really beneficial, and we'll be moving toward Orton Gillingham in the lower school, I think, pretty exclusively to enhance our early reading comprehension and decoding skills. We're running out of space. We're running out of space. Thank goodness, enrollment is up, and that's a good thing. Enrollment went down back in 2009, and we've been steadily climbing, but we're reaching a point now where there's going to be a problem if we don't get some additional space. Don't have enough classrooms. Even this year, we're being very creative in using the conference room. The 8th grade loves it. They think that it's like being in college, working in the conference room. So we're going to have to figure out a solution to this problem. Down the road, we're going to build a new wing, which is part of the big plan for the field, but that's going to take some time and some additional fundraising. So in the meantime, looking at the possibility of a module to get us through until we can build the new wing. That's not a definite thing yet. Probably, I don't know whether we'll do that next year or maybe the year after, but I do think it's a real possibility, and it's something that I'm exploring as we speak with the board's blessing. Okay, so let's look forward beyond next year. That's a lot. That's a lot for next year. It's a lot of big things. Of course, we want to get the field done. We want to replace the entire HVAC system in the next, I'd say, 2 years. The modular unit in the next 2 years. We would like to renovate the main office. The main office has not been renovated since the 1990s. It's in big time need of sprucing up and expansion. One of the things that happened when we built the Jane Gall Center, as beautiful and wonderful as it is we sort of lost the access to the front door from the office. Used to be that, this was the front door, these glass doors here. When the Jane Gall Center was not here, the lobby was not here. That was the front door, and the office was right there. Now when somebody comes to the office, thank goodness we have our cameras and our buzzers, but they're not being greeted personally right when they come to the door. So we really want to make that happen in the next 5 years, to renovate the office and open it up to the lobby. And we've done, when Mr. Glover was here, he had some sort of rough drawings done by the architect. So we have some idea of how we would do it, but it's not top priority right now because we have the other things to do. The windows need to be replaced. The windows are old. They're not energy efficient. We're probably wasting a lot of money every month. We are pursuing the possibility of some grants, both federal and through companies. So if anybody out there has connections, please let us know. If you have any thoughts about that or advice about that or expertise in that area, we'd be very happy to hear from you. And in the 5 to 10 year time span, that's when we would be looking at that new wing. Those plans were approved when we first got the first round of plans approved for the field. It's part of that big plan. We've phased it now so that we can do the playgrounds in the field, and then phase 2 will be the new wing. But we are keeping the bond alive for that so that we don't lose all the ground that we made when we got approval from the neighbors and from the county to move forward with that project. So we'll keep that alive and move toward having that. We even have some initial plans for that. The goal is to put that new wing where the current playground is, and that will house the upper school. It's a 2-story building. It's really cool. It's all sort of open, and a space for the arts, a space for orchestra, for technology, very cool space for the upper school. And then we can open up and move everybody around inside the building that we have now. It's going to be awesome. All right, let's talk about what everybody wants to know about. The field. If you don't know, the field plan includes a synthetic turf field for soccer, track, and softball, 2 brand new playgrounds, one for the preschool and kindergarten, and the other one for the 1st through the 8th grade. A 2-hoop basketball court, we only have one right now outside, and a couple of gaga ball courts possibly, fencing, landscaping, and aesthetics such as a fountain. That's all that's going to happen. It's a big project. When we talked to you last year, our initial estimate that we had gotten from an outside estimation firm was $2.8 million. It's a lot more than that. It's 4.5. Part of the reason why it hasn't happened yet. So it's 4.5 million for the entire project is what we're estimating. We are officially launching our capital campaign. Many parents are excited to engage, and we want to make sure that everybody understands that this capital campaign is separate from our annual giving. Annual giving campaign is part of our budget. We count on that. We need to get that money for all the things that we want to do from year to year. It's part of our operating budget. But this capital campaign is above and beyond that. So we need our current families who are really going to be the beneficiaries of this project to step up. And certainly we've had some very generous donors come forward and give large gifts, which are helpful and are helping to get us there, but we need more. And we're hoping that our current families will be stepping up to help us do that. So the board has put forward a plan for us to raise a minimum of $1.5 million. And we hope to do that, honestly, this year, before the summer. And I think it's feasible, based on the conversations that I've had with people who are here now and are interested in helping to partner with us to be leaders in making this project happen. Once we have that, of course, we have to borrow money from the bank. And we have no debt. Westminster has zero debt, something that we're very proud of. Most private schools carry debt. It's highly unusual for a private school to have no debt. And we're very fiscally responsible here. So we want to make sure that we can make the payments on any loan that we take out from the bank, because certainly don't want to put the school in any jeopardy. So I want to reassure everyone that yes, we will take on some debt, but we're not going to take on more debt than we feel we can manage. And the bank, of course, is looking to loan us the money. We have this property is worth lots of money and would certainly cover all that, but we don't want to lose the school. So we have to be careful. So we're looking for $1.5 million to get us started, and then we will continue to fundraise while the project is underway. I have made a suggestion, and I think this is something that the board agrees with, that perhaps we'll wait on laying the turf. Believe it or not, that's $1 million. So in speaking with our construction management firm, they thought that was a good idea, that we could go ahead and do all the underground work. That's the site work is what costs so much money, because we've got stormwater issues and all kinds of stuff that has to be done, the grading and whatnot. So we get all that done, and we could seed it and sod it and use it, and then raise the last $1 million to put the turf down. But we'll see. We'll see how the fundraising goes. The playgrounds, the basketball court, and the leveling of the space and getting the groundwork done is going to be about $3.5 million. So it's a big project. Jane Gall Center, I think, was $4 million. So we did it. We can do it again. This is a diagram of the plan. So the existing building, you can see here. This is the driveway, the gray. This is the maintenance building and the stone house. This #1 purple area is the big playground. Now, understand, this is where the current field is, the grassy area that we have now. It's not really, it's a field in that it's grass, but you can't play soccer on that field. It's all bumpy and not level. So this is where the big playground will go. It's quite large. And then there's a little pathway to take you down to the field. There's a fountain here. This is the preschool and kindergarten playground. And over here, the basketball court, and these little, I guess they're octagons, or the Gaga ball courts. If you don't know what Gaga ball is, it's a thing in elementary schools. It's fun. Kind of like Foursquare, but it's inside of a little, I don't know, cage. I don't know what you call it. It's a court. And then beyond the trees, where the trees are, this is the field. So when you're looking at our property, you may not understand that 2 acres of land beyond the trees on this side of the school, as you go around the curve, we own that. We bought that property. It was $1.6 million. It was not nothing. And then we had to tear the house down, and we had to, spend the money for that. And it was a whole part of the project, but that's done now. And we have the plans that have been submitted and are just about to reach final approval. And this is going to, can you just imagine how this is going to transform our campus? It's going to take it up to a whole nother level. And we need to do this. It's not just that we want to do this, we must do it. In order to stay competitive, in order to attract families, we have to have this green space, this athletic space, and the school deserves to have it. And as Jenny Wills said from our board, she said, it's time for the exterior of the school to reflect the quality of what goes on inside of the building. And I thought that was great, and I always remember that. And it's right, it's time. We built the Jane Gall Center 20 years ago. It's time to do this. And how exciting, how great for the kids to have all this space to play. It's gonna be wonderful. Think of all the events that we're gonna have that are gonna take place out here. And it's going to open up the visibility of the school to the community, because people drive by here all the time. They don't know we're here. It's like that commercial. I didn't know those homes were there. I hear it all the time. I didn't know that school was there. And Mrs. Gall loved it because the school was up off the road and it was safe, and she liked that, and I agree with that. But I'd like people to know we're here. I'd like people to know about Westminster School. So it's exciting, and we're gonna make it happen with your help. So here's a history of the project. If you haven't seen this before, it goes all the way back to 2009 when we bought 1.8 million, I misspoke earlier, 1.8 million to buy that property next door. And then from 2010 to 2015, we raised about $350,000. Times were tough. It's when the economy went down, when the enrollment went down due to the finance situation back in those days. We did get a plan done. We, did a feasibility study and so forth. Then in 2016, we just decided, it's not gonna happen right now. We just need to put it on hold. But we kept it alive in the county so that we wouldn't have to start over again, which was very important. And I'm really grateful that we did that. After COVID, we got through the pandemic. We were in good shape. Financially, we thought we can start turning our attention to this again. Enrollment is up, people are interested. It's a whole new generation of Griffins. Let's try to make this thing happen. And we tore the house down. We had to do some asbestos removal. I went to the board and proposed that we bring this back to life. We got full approval, 100%. From the board that yes, we need to make this happen. Everybody's on board about it. And then we launched the revived Field of Dreams project with hiring the engineer, re-engaging the engineer, who was the same engineer we worked with, believe it or not, all those years ago. Really good guy, Ted Britt, who from TriTech Engineering. We got back in touch with Mark Minetti, who is our architect, who's a dear friend of the school and really has done a lot of work for us over the years. We engaged OR Partners as our construction management firm, which was a really important decision that was backed by the board. I'm very grateful for that because they are knowledgeable and they know all the things. They know the questions to ask, and they're making sure that the engineer and everybody is doing what they're supposed to be doing, helping us get the plans through the county. So that's been really important. And now we're ready to really launch this capital campaign and ask for your help. So why didn't it happen this year? Last year, we thought we'd be breaking ground this year. Well, as I say, the project was almost not twice, but $2 million more than we thought it was gonna be. That was a pretty big curveball. It was a very quiet meeting. When that happened, we all went, excuse me? I'm sorry, what are you saying? Well, they were really off. So that was pretty disappointing and pretty much made it out of reach unless somebody was gonna walk in and a couple people hand us $2 million. The fundraising with the alumni and the big donors has been somewhat profitable, and we've had some really generous people step forward, and I'm very grateful to them, and we're continuing to pursue that, but it didn't bring, us $2 million, which is what we need. Of course, it's not a great time to be borrowing money. It's getting better, so we're hoping that things are starting to settle down there. It wasn't really a responsible time to start borrowing money. The plans had to be resubmitted as a first submission. We thought we were just going to be able to make some changes and then submit it as a third submission, but they made us go back and fix things and update things to code and whatnot. So doing that really slowed the whole process down. The committee that is reviewing the plans has been very particular, and they are making sure that all kinds of things are happening. And some of the things that they are requiring have required us to go back to the plans and make pretty significant changes. We were lucky in that a year ago, I think when I talked to you all about this, we were under a deadline to break ground by the end of this year. That is no longer the case. The county has released all residents and county taxpayers of that deadline, so we don't have that deadline anymore, which is a big relief, because that would have been not good. So that's good, but we have to move the gas line, which is going to cost a lot of money. We didn't know about that. That's another thing that they found out in their studies that they've done of the site. So now we have just the last thing that we had to do. There was a sidewalk they want us to move, so we're doing that, and we should be in final stages, ready to submit in the next 2 weeks, and we expect to get approval because we've addressed all the comments. So hopefully we will break ground this fall. We have lots of information about the field if you are interested in helping us out on a grand scale, and as I say, becoming a leadership partner in the neighborhood of these numbers up here. This is over a 3-year agreement that you make a gift to give a gift of this size that you can finance over 3 years. We have an opportunity to name some things on the field project, on the playground. You can see that you can have the playground named after you. You can have the field named after you if you have $1 million. And many other items which the scoreboard has already been claimed. So talk to us about this. I have packets here tonight, which those of us who are here in person are welcome to pick up, with lots more information about the field and talking about ways to give and ways to finance this project. And if you think about it, it's really a tuition each year. And if you do that, you've raised $100,000 over 3 years, and you can have something named after you. Okay, so that's the news on the field. I'm going to let Ms. Laws speak to you about annual giving.
Alrighty, thank you, Mrs. Schuler. Thank you for that update on the field. And of course, Mrs. Schuler and I will be working very closely together to hopefully make that happen very soon. So it's something I feel very passionate about as well. So hopefully we will make that happen. But for tonight, I'm just going to speak on annual giving. For those of you who I've not had the pleasure to meet and might not know who I am, my name is Lauren Laws. I am the Development Project Coordinator here at Westminster School. I'm going on my 2nd year here. Last year I was the administrative assistant alongside Mrs. Van Bevers in the office, where I got to know a lot of your children, a lot of the faculty and staff, and a lot of the parents as well as you guys popped into the office. So that was a great opportunity for me to get a chance to know everybody, as well as doing Blackbaud for this school. So I might have interacted with you via email to get you signed on to our Blackbaud program. But a little bit about me is I even though this is my second year, I have worked in development for 3 years prior to coming here at Highland School in Warrington, where I worked at their Office of Advancement. So fundraising is truly my passion. It's what my background is in. So I'm very thankful to Mrs. Schuler, the school, and the board for opening this position this year for me in order to do what I love and to raise school some money in order to do the things that we need to do. So I'm very excited to tell you a little bit about our World of Possibilities campaign that we have launched this year. So as you guys know, Westminster is a nonprofit, a 501c3 corporation. So just as you would give a donation to other nonprofits, we also ask for donations here. And you might want to know, what is the annual fund? Why is it important? Where does my money go to? Of course, you're already paying tuition, so it might seem like, why am I giving extra money to the school? But the annual fund is really, really important. As Mrs. Schuler mentioned in her presentation, it's already preset in our budget for the year. So this is a number that we need to meet. It is very important, and it covers all the extras that the school does for your children. So different things like field trips, the technology that Ms. Jacobson mentioned earlier, those awesome smart boards, the Chromebooks, the iPads, things like that are all coming from this fund. The compensation to the staff, different things in the makerspace or the arts, all this money is going to your children in a good and positive way. So just know that as you're making a donation to the school, that it is going somewhere good and impacting all the children here in all grades. So our theme for this year is World of Possibilities, and our goal is $150,000. That is a lot of money, but quite honestly, that is a very modest goal compared to a lot of other schools that their goal might be $500,000 to $1 million to raise for their annual giving. So we like to consider it a very modest goal. It's definitely a number that we're very confident that we are going to hit that number. But that is our minimum. My goal is really to surpass that amount. That way we can do even more extra things. So I'm hoping to grow this program as the years go on, as this is our first year really developing it even more. So different recaps of what we have done this year for our fall events in order to hit this goal. I launched our Gallant Griffins program, and for those of you who are not familiar with what that program is, it's our annual sponsorship program. So families or businesses can sign on and contact me, and I have a pamphlet over there if anybody is interested. But it has levels ranging from $1,000 to $5,000. And it's a really great way to promote your business or even your family to show your support to the school. So in doing so, you get year-round visibility, which is very important. We, hang up banners. We recognize you during, plays or the music programs. And, we list you in the gala program, different things. And you also get different perks such as, tickets to the 5K, tickets to the gala, other different special perks alongside the year-round visibility that you might not get other places. So if you're interested in that, please let me know. But I definitely want to say a big thank you to those of you who did step up as I just launched this program this year and really believed in us. It really means a lot, and I hope we can continue to grow that moving forward. So we launched that. We had our 5K race on November 11th, which was also Veterans Day. It was a very successful event. We had over 200 participants, which we doubled our fundraising for the registration profits, which is amazing. Mr. Crook designed an awesome new 5K blazer pin for the students that hopefully many of your students received if they participated in the race. And then since it was Veterans Day, we also decided to give back. We decided to donate a portion of our proceeds to the Fisher House Foundation. So we were able to write them a check for $1,000, which I was very proud and happy to do. And for those of you who don't know, the Fisher House Foundation is a foundation that helps military families if their loved one was injured and in the hospital. It provides them money to travel to get to wherever their loved one is and provides them housing and food and everything that they need so they can just just fully support and be there for their loved one in the difficult time. So that was a very successful event. And then that moved us to a few weeks later to Giving Tuesday on November 28th. And we had 175 donors raise over $55,000. So I'll say that again, 175 donors raising over $55,000 in a single day. So I send a huge, huge shout out, and I think that deserves a big round of applause. So thank you to everyone who gave on that day. So that was very exciting. And then to close out the year, as you know, your gift is tax deductible. So we sent out an end of the year solicitation to close out 2023. And now we are moving on to the second half of our year. So where are we currently standing as far as our point of reaching our goal? So we are currently at $109,000, which we are doing great. I just need us to keep up this momentum as we are rolling into all of our spring events. We definitely still have a little bit of work to do, but I think we will definitely get there. And coming up here soon on March 23rd is our Enchanted Garden Gala. I am very excited about that. It will be Enchanted Garden theme, and you will, for attire, we are expecting like an elegant nature-inspired outfit. I always get this question, so I'm just gonna answer it while hopefully people are listening. So everyone always wants to know about attire. So, you know, women, floral dresses, floral skirts, floral tops. For the men, maybe a floral tie or different suit jackets, things of that nature. But it starts at 7 p.m. It is a 21 and older event, so there will be some alcoholic beverages served. So point being is to get your babysitter. Get your babysitter now. Pre-schedule your Uber. That way you don't have to drive. Have it be a night out, a little date night. If you want to get a group of moms, a group of dads together as well, just to make it even more fun. You guys can, have dinner beforehand, head over, but it should be a really great event. We'll have some entertainment. We're supposed to have a henna tattoo artist, a fortune teller, a caricature artist, and definitely we'll dance the night away. But we should have a lot of amazing things for you to bid on. Tickets will be $55 a person or $100 per couple. And I want to mention one thing that was a little confusing last year for people is you bought a ticket and then you had to register to bid. So I just want to make sure that those are two different things that you will need to do if you plan to come to the gala. First, you'll buy your ticket, and then we'll send out something else as it gets sooner or closer to the gala to register to bid. And it's really important that you do that prior to coming to the gala, just so I don't have to stop you at the door to have you fill out all this information. That way you already have your bidder number when you show up, and I can give you your bidder number card, and then on you go to start your fun. So just wanted to mention that, but all is great to have you guys, buy your tickets and everything, but what good is it if I don't have anything for you guys to bid on? So I am here to plead that we are really in need of sponsorships. We will be sending out an email here, hopefully this week, that will have a sponsorship donation form or sponsorship Google form and a donation Google form. So if you're interested in sponsoring, we have different sponsorship levels from $250 to $2,000. And there's different perks that come with those. There's some include tickets, things like that. So if you're interested, please fill out those forms. In full transparency, I sent that out and hoping to get sponsorships and donations last year, and I had maybe 3 responses. So as much as I would like to think that I can run the gala and get all the items and get all the sponsorships myself, I really need your help in filling out those forms and sending me the information, so I'm not, reaching out to 50 different people trying to see what, use your connections. Go to ask the places that you spend a lot of money at, hair salon, nail salon, things like that. If you just had a landscaper do a lot of business, say, hey, our school is hosting this gala. Would you be interested in donating something? So just use your connections. Think of different things. We're looking for experiences. If you are somebody or know somebody that has sporting tickets, sporting memorabilia, tickets to a show or a play, things like that. Obviously the experiences tend to do a lot better. Also, if you have like a beach house, maybe you host an Airbnb or know somebody who does, like a lake house, a cabin house, any of those trips, experiences like that always are hot items. So when you come here that night of, we will have silent auction items that will have class baskets again. So if you haven't already, you should be receiving an email from your room parent asking you guys to kind of collect a bunch of items together for a themed basket that will be auctioned off at the gala. And I want to mention too that you'll be bidding for the silent auction items through your phone. So even if you can't attend, if that March 23rd date doesn't work for you, you can still register to bid and bid through your phone, even if you can't attend. But please, obviously, we are very encouraged to have you guys be here in person and enjoy the night. But just in case maybe you're traveling for work or something that weekend, you can still bid against your friends and everything from away. We will also be having a professional live auctioneer for our live auction, and we'll be doing some class art pieces that Mrs. On is helping coordinate for everybody. And we will have some class parties again. I do want to mention that the intention for the class parties is for all the parents of the grade to kind of chip in together, and maybe it's just one person actually doing the bidding, but the intention is not for one parent to pay for the whole party. The teachers do a lot of time and effort to really make those parties really fun. And they used to go for thousands of dollars because all the parents would kind of chip in, where last year they did not go for anywhere close to that amount. So just ahead of time, start coordinating with the other parents in your class to really chip in to make that party be as great as it can be. And of course, who would I be if I didn't say that we will have the best the auctioneer that is coming is going to be the best one you'll ever hear or see or experience. He is awesome, but I am a little biased because it is my father. But anyway, moving on from the gala and auction talk, we have Grandparents' Day coming up on April 18th. If you have not filled out a Blackbaud form called the Grandparents Form that was sent out earlier this year on Blackbaud, please do so, because that's how we will plan to contact all the grandparents for that day and send them a little invite, things like that. If you're unsure if you filled it out, or if you need me to send it to you, if maybe it didn't get to you or something happened, please reach out to me and I'm happy to do so. With Grandparents' Day, we will be launching a little bit before then a Grandparents Club for any of those grandparents or special friends out there that might be interested. We are going to have a club where it's a $100 fee to join, but you can dedicate your grandchild's favorite book to the school's library, which is definitely a great way to leave a lasting legacy in our school library for your grandchild. You'll get a professional photo with your grandchild on Grandparents' Day, as well as some tickets to an upper school play. So a great opportunity for them to join the community, meet other grandparents, and really start this amazing club. And I know Mr. Folk is very excited for that. And then moving on towards the end of the year, April 23rd, our Spring Giving Day is Shakespeare's birthday. That's really a day that we just show our honor and love for the arts and for the classical education that our students receive here. So we'll be doing another class participation challenge. It's really important. We really need 100% participation. We have 100% participation currently from our board, from our faculty, for our staff. Which is amazing. So now we really need the parents to step up and also reach 100% participation for your class on that day. So, we ask that you can give as generously as you can, but of course any amount helps. It's really about the participation and the show of the community, especially as we're trying to raise this money for the field campaign. It always looks great to show that we have 100% communication from the community. And last but not least, we'll have our mother-son dance on May 3rd from 5:30 to 7. This was originally February 16th, but it was we realized the holiday weekend and we were concerned about the turnout if people were going to be traveling. So we decided to move it a little bit later in the year, give you guys some heads up. It'll be nicer weather. We'll probably maybe do another Kentucky Derby themed. It'll be really fun. It was a great turnout last year. Lots of fun games, dancing, a lot of good time for the mother and sons or special guests that come along with them. That is all for me. Thank you guys so much for your support and for coming out tonight. It really means a lot to me to see you guys, interact and show me all the support that you can, as well as showing the school. That's the most important. So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
All right, next we're going to hear from the chair of our Board of Trustees, Keith Falk.
I did want to mention, in addition to myself, on the board we have Nina Breen, Clay Carney, Lane Nimro, Amanda Meadows, Mojan Norbosh, Nathaniel Smith, Mike Townsend, and Jenny Wills. And we're all volunteers. Let's see, the expense. Okay, the board considers the tuition decision to be the most important decision we make every year. The process begins with the finance committee, which is made up of Clay Carney, the treasurer, Nina Breen, Mrs. Schuler, Dolores Nelson, our business manager, and myself. We start by building an expense budget, which you can see here. The largest expense is our salaries and benefits. I'll try not to do that. Our salaries and benefits. And we recognize that we need to have competitive salaries and benefits to keep the excellent staff that we have on board. In addition to salaries and staff, we also have our physical plant, general and administrative costs, the additional academic programs we offer, technology, textbooks, teaching materials, the advertising and marketing that we use, and also the student benefits, the many field trips they go on, athletic programs, drama programs, photos, yearbook productions, and the bus operating expenses. The next part of the next slide is a slide of what our revenue budget is. The tuition calculation each year, I know, is very important to you, the parents, and we spend a lot of time on that because it's not just a matter of, well, let's just take this number and multiply it by that number, because as you well know, each grade pays a different tuition based on what year they're in. And also, it's also affected by the number of children graduating and the number of children advancing in each grade. So we do an analysis of this, and then we do a estimate of how many students it's reasonable to join Westminster during the year. In addition to our revenue through tuition, and we also have to, we also consider revenue from extracurricular programs, the annual giving, the fundraising, and also the fees from bus fees, application registration fees, miscellaneous facility rentals, and tutoring. One thing we did this year, we made the decision we were going to hold the bus fees constant, hopefully to improve the ridership, and also we were going to increase the amount of discount, the multi-student discount for children that ride the bus. So after the budget is complete, it's presented to the full board for discussion and approval. So this is our current tuition for this year. You can see the various tiers. Again, we factored in a 5% increase because we were trying to smooth some of the tiers. If you were mathematically going to analyze each grade, it wouldn't be exactly 5%, but overall it's 5%. Okay, next. One thing we really make an effort to do is to be competitive. There's no question in our minds we have the best educational program in Northern Virginia, but that isn't, parents don't recognize that when they're visiting the school for the first time. So we feel the need to be competitive with the schools around us, and I think we've accomplished that very well. So those are what other schools are charging.
Best deal in town.
And then just the last thing, things that we're proud of, as Mrs. Schuler mentioned, Westminster School currently has no debt. We have an audit every year by Hosick & Company. They're a local accounting firm that's been doing our audit probably for 20 some years. They also audit various private schools in the area, so we really feel like we get a value received when they do our audit. And we have a clean financial audit every year. As has been mentioned, we're moving forward with the field, hope to raise $1.5 million. We have consistent leadership, not really much turnover at all. We have a highly qualified staff. Enrollment is up, attrition's down, And the area seems to be growing. We've got Amazon moving into the area, and Nova is probably doubled in size with the Shar Center. And then you have all the building that's going on around the Mosaic District. There we go.
Thank you, Keith. I just would like to say that we are so fortunate to have such involved and engaged board members. As Keith mentioned, they're volunteers. They all have busy lives. They all have jobs. And I want to thank Keith, of course, for being here tonight and for everything that he does to support me, to support Westminster School. Clay Carney is here tonight with us in person. Would you stand up so everybody knows who you are? It's Clay Carney. And he is the head of our finance committee, Westminster, dad of a Westminster graduate. Jenny Wills is here tonight, who's been tremendously helpful with development and alumni relations. And my bet is that the rest of the board is on Zoom. I know that Mojan is because she's already texted me. So thank you all for being here and for supporting me and supporting the school in all the ways that you do. All right, next we're going to hear from Ms. Sapper, our admissions director.
Hi there, good evening to you all, and thank you for being here. Just touching on that last slide with the new growth in the area, hopefully that can translate to some increased enrollment or to continue to increase our enrollment as we've already seen this year. So this current school year did see an increase and we want to keep that trend going. I'm here just to talk to you briefly on some ways that you can help. The number one thing that you can do if you love Westminster School is to bring us a family. So I have some ideas, some hopefully easy ways that you can help do that. Some of the things that I've been really focused on this past year is a strategic restructuring of our marketing and advertising campaigns. So really looking at local trends, current trends, how are people splitting up print versus digital advertising and things like that. And so with Mrs. Schuler's guidance, we sort of took a deep dive at what we had been doing and decided to make some strategic decisions to increase our visibility in the areas that matter most. So you'll see our digital campaigns have expanded. We're working with partners like Niche, I guess people call it Niche or Niche, and Private School Review and things like that, as we have been, but we've boosted our partnership with them. Increased visibility on social media, that's a real passion of mine now. It wasn't before, but it's becoming. So if you don't follow us on Facebook and Instagram and all of those places, please consider. You can follow us on YouTube. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, and Mr. Crook's magical digital efforts are there for all the viewing pleasure. And for the print ads, one thing that you can really do to help us is vote for us. So I think we just recently sent out an email about how we're accepting nominations for Washington Family Magazine Parent Choice Awards, which we won last year and would like to continue to win and receive votes in each year. I have been really focused on doing some community outreach in the local area. So we've become a corporate annual sponsor of the Arlington Chamber of Commerce, which is very exciting. We'll be engaging with them in various events and just increasing our visibility in the area through those efforts. Applications are due soon, so I'm in the height of admission season now, as some of you may know. Rolling admission season will begin March 1st, so that is dependent on space availability and a grade. So if you have anyone who's looking at private schools, looking to make a change for their children or explore private schools in the area, please bring them my way. Thank you to the many of you who have already done so. Admissions is year-round, so I work throughout the summer. I do take a little break, but don't think that just because the school year's over that the admissions office is closed. Please continue to reach out. I will be turning my focus once we send out our offer letters to the welcome and social events. So I might be reaching out to some of you if you're interested. If you have children here, I might be asking you to partner with a family who's coming in if there are children in the same grade level or interests that align. That's one really great way that we can bring new families into the fold. And I hear time and time again from families that it's the parent community that is what draws the families and keeps them. So thank you to all of you who have already supported in that way. Just a little bit of how else can you help. Word of mouth is our best marketing strategy. So you can sign up with me to be an admissions ambassador. I really, really appreciate those parents who attend the open houses, who I can call on. You know, I have a family there, I have some questions. Would you mind answering them? I can, you know, connect you by email and things like that. So if you're willing, if you have the time, I have more information I'm happy to send you. Everyone can pick up a Help Our Griffin Family Grow flyer on the way out. I sometimes update the information there, so we'll have a new one coming your way. If you're here in person, they're over on the table, and we'll send it out to the rest of the community as well. But the biggest way, and this is something that I'm very passionate about since we've sort of been restructuring our digital marketing efforts, is to write an online review about your Westminster experience. And so I've gone so far as to create a QR code for the sites in which we are visible on, from Google to Niche, like I said, privateschoolreview.com, Great Schools, Yelp, and Facebook. If you're here in person, I have the flyers laid out on the table for you. If you're at home, there they are. So you can click on the links. I'm not sure how that works if you're on Zoom. They might not be clickable, but either way, this document will be shared with everyone. And families who are looking at schools really want to hear from current parents, which makes all the sense in the world. So if you are having an experience that you would like to share with the world and a tremendous impact on the school and the enrollment here, there are a few things you can do that would be more meaningful than that. So I think that's all for me. Is there anything that I missed, Mrs. Schuler? Okay. Thank you all for being here.
Just say again how fortunate we are to have such an amazing admin team. I want to thank all of these people who are here this evening, these ladies, and Kevin Crook, who's up in the booth, helping with the technology, the Zoom meeting. You saw, if you were here for the parent workshop that we had, what happened when Kevin wasn't here. I was crawling around on the floor. It was not good. He's here tonight. So let's give a round of applause to our admin team. So grateful to them. So Mr. Glover once said that Westminster School is not the foundation, it's the whole building. And I think what he meant by that, people are always saying, you know, elementary school is the foundation, Westminster's the foundation, but it's not, because when they graduate from here, honestly, they're pretty much ready for whatever is going to come their way. They're so grounded, they're so smart, they're so kind, they're just ready for the world. And you see from those testimonials the answers that we received from the graduates about why the world needs Westminster School. It all happens here. So thank you for sharing your children with us. Thank you for trusting us with your most precious, precious commodity, those darling children who we love. I look around this room and I'm thinking about all of them. And you know, I'll tell you one thing, the gala, the sleepover was a hit. So the third graders, we had a time and we slept out in the skylight corridor. I spent the night here. I had a blow up mattress, I'll admit that. I am of a certain age, I was not gonna be on the floor. But Mrs. Jacobson and Ms. Mock and I were here, and the third graders were darling. And they got up in the morning and they were just as sweet. They got up and they rolled up their sleeping bags without me telling them. They went right to brush their teeth without telling me. And I said, that's Westminster. So well behaved, so sweet, so darling. So yes, the sleepover will be up for bid again. So come on, third grade. I don't know about 6th through the 8th graders getting that prize. We'll see. Okay, well, that concludes our presentation for this evening. I'm happy to take any questions from anybody who's here in person or online. Does EDP have any questions for any of us? I have answered all of your questions that you came in to ask. Mr. Crook, do we have anybody? You haven't sent me any messages, so. All right, my friends online, if you have questions, you can put those into the chat, I guess it is, and send those to us. It'll take a few minutes to do that. Those of you who are here on the table, we have some admissions materials. We have the field brochure packet over there with more information about the field and helping us with that. I printed out the list of words from the graduates because I just found that to be so powerful and profound. So you're welcome to take that with you. We also printed out the tuition brochure, which was in the email that we sent you. But when I look at Constant Contact, it looked like most people read the letter, which is great. I'm thrilled that you read my 5-page letter. But that Mrs. Jacobson helped me write. But I want to make sure you have that tuition brochure because it's compact and clear, and Mr. Crook worked hard on making that beautiful. So I printed some copies of that. Please take that with you. Those of you who are not here with us in person, I encourage you to go back to that email and click on that button with the brochure because it's a lot more concise in giving you the highlights of everything that we talked about tonight. Any questions?
Your husband has a question.
I don't want to know. He can ask me later. My husband is online. My husband who never sees me. Thank you, dear. He came out tonight just so he could see me. Okay, well, that's wonderful. Again, thank you all so much for being with us. Thank you for your support. Thank you for sharing your children with us. Let's make the Griffin Field of Dreams a reality. Right? Let's do it. I'm gonna do it. Okay, thank you, everybody. Good night.
How you doing?